there everybody, it's Oldphan, and today we're going to be talking about two of Bandai's Dragon Ball Kai Versus sets. These are essentially candy toys, so in addition to one piece of candy in each box, you also get two very nice vinyl minifigures. In truth, I don't know the actual name of this series, but they are either a part of or sort of very close cousins to the Bandai Dragon Ball Heroes series. For those of you that don't know, Bandai's Dragon Heroes series is an ongoing series of beautiful vinyl 5-inch figures. I'm not exactly sure how many figures there have been in total in this series, but we have had a helping of both Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT figures so far. Now these figures have had a lot of mixed reviews from different collectors. Some people absolutely hate them because of the very, very limited articulation. As you can see, he can move at the shoulders and at the waist, and that's pretty much all the articulation that most of them have. But on the other hand, a lot of collectors like myself absolutely adore these. For one, they're made out of vinyl, and it is actually my firm belief that the greatest material ever used to make Dragon Ball toys is vinyl. And second of all, the sort of blocky, limited articulation reminds me of older figures that I really, really love. Particularly Bandai's old Super Collection figures, which also had limited articulation, were made out of vinyl, and were some of the most accurate Dragon Ball figures of all time. It's really just a matter of whatever aesthetic taste that particular collector has. To me, these figures remind me of toys that I played with as a kid and that I loved. To me, they look like old-timey Dragon Ball figures, and I love them for that. So anyway, I guess what my point is that these little Versus sets are basically scaled-down miniature versions of some of those Dragon Hero figures. Haven't opened these yet, and I'm really excited to, so let's do it. Let's open the Vegeta and Janemba box first. As you can see, it's number 3 in the series. If we turn the box this way, we can see all the other figures in the line. We have a Gohan-absorbed Buu with Super Saiyan Vegito, Cell with Goku, Janemba with Vegeta, which is what we have right here, Super Saiyan Broly with Super Saiyan Son Gohan, and a First Form Frieza with Bardock, and this is the other set I got. And here's a view of what the figures are going to look like on the back of the box. As I said before, these are candy toys, so they come packaged with one Bandai candy tablet. For those of you out there that haven't tasted one of these before, they're kind of citrusy. Very nice first impression right out of the box. When I first saw how close together his legs were, I was very, very worried he wouldn't be able to stand, but as you can see, even on this blanket that I laid out to do this video, he can stand very, very well. And admittedly, this is partly because of his tail. Also because of his tail, Janemba has a lot more articulation than most of these figures do. He can move both arms, his tail rotates 360 degrees, and so does his waist, but it always does feel like you're gonna break him. My main gripe about the Janemba is that the back doesn't seem to have been fully painted. As you can see on his shoulder here, there's a very definite paint line separating his back from his front, so that's kind of unfortunate. It was a very, very small little detail that they could have taken care of very easily. Now, because the Vegeta figure needed little to no paint on the back, he does not suffer the same way as many of the other figures in this series. The details on his face might be a little hard to pick up, but as you can see, he is quite beautifully detailed and sculpted. Lots of great detail in his neck area. And I think that his hair was quite well done, too. Nice sculpting in the arms of gloves, again, the very, very limited articulation. And there's also some subtle but quite nice detailing in his shirt. You can see sort of where it's ruffled up in his suit. It may not be the greatest Vegeta figure I've ever seen, but it's quite nice, especially for something that comes packaged in a 2-pack. I did want to add that I like the little smirk that they gave the Janemba, and while it is slightly inferior to the Vegeta figure that comes with it, it's still a nice little toy with quite a lot of charm. Now, I probably should mention that this is actually the second series in this little Versus line. There was a series of Versus Dragon Ball Z figures. This is Dragon Ball Kai, so actually I don't know whether this counts as an entirely different series, or whether it's technically Series 2. Now that we have this Dragon Ball Kai thing going on, the toy releases are getting a lot more complicated. Okay, and now let's move on to the Bardock and First Form Frieza set. Again, this is the 5th set in the line, and in my opinion, the best combination. Oh, and here's a quick view of the back of the box. This is what the figures will look like. Here they are in all of their glory, the Bardock and the First Form Frieza. Well, I think that he's a nice little Bardock. He's got a scar on one cheek. That was a nice little detail. I like how dark the colors are. It looks kind of nice. I know that his boots definitely had different colors, more detail than that in the movie. Out of all the figures in this series that I've seen, I think that the Bardock suffers the worst from the paint problems. His back, as you can see, is totally not painted at all, except for his little side guards here. Where his tail attaches, you can see, has just been left the same color as the pants. On his front, this part of his tail is brown, and on this part it's just black. So it is unfortunate that they couldn't have spent a little extra time on him and painted the entire figure. Now, the Frieza is especially interesting because there actually is a 5-inch Dragon Heroes Frieza that looks like this. So this is actually a smaller version of a larger figure that I don't think has been officially released yet. I certainly don't have it. Like Janemba, he has tail articulation, giving him more articulation than most figures in the series. His back is also not painted, though it's a little less noticeable with the Frieza, I think. Except, of course, when you turn him this way and you see the very clear separation of where they stop painting on his shoulder pads. In truth, I don't have very much to say about these figures individually. I will, however, very strongly recommend them as a series to my fellow collectors out there. Like I said, if you're somebody who enjoys older Dragon Ball toys, and let's face it, a lot of older Dragon Ball toys are sort of blocky. They do have very, very limited articulation. If you're a fan of those older types of toys, I think that you're really going to enjoy these. To me, these figures, and of course the Dragon Heroes series, is sort of a happy marriage between old and new. You've got these figures that are made out of vinyl, they're beautifully detailed. In a lot of ways, they're very, very representative of some of the best Dragon Ball toys being made now. But on the other hand, they have their limited articulation, the paint jobs are not really the best, and they sort of have this blocky, older style look to them. Stylistically, I don't really find these figures that different from something like this old unpainted Gashapon, or say figures by Yutaka, which had some of the same sort of problems. Really, although they are 100% legitimate Dragon Ball toys by Bandai, they sort of have this bootleggy quality to them. Now for me, in my personal taste as a collector, that endears them to me. That makes me want to collect the entire series, and that's why I love them. But on the other hand, you might not want something that sort of looks bootleggy. In which case, I don't think that you'd enjoy these. And I guess that's really all I can say about them for now. If you've been thinking about picking these up, I hope that this has helped you make a decision in some sort of way. Again, I really like them for all the reasons that I named, and I know that some of you out there will feel the same as I do. For others out there, be warned. Once again, this has been Oldphan. I hope that you've enjoyed this look at 2 of Bandai's Dragon Ball Kai Versus sets. I will be back with more Dragon Ball toy reviews very, very soon. Thank you very much again to everybody, all the best, and bye for now!